Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping straight into a concept today from management thinker Fredman Malik. And honestly, it's going to completely flip how you look at a classic business ritual, the budget, right? Like if your idea of a budget is just this rigid spreadsheet that you nervously check at the end of the month to see if you're in the red, well, get ready to shift your perspective. We're going to deconstruct what a budget actually is, how it should be used, and why the way most organizations handle their finances is, well, kind of sabotaging their own teams without them even realizing it. Because here's the fundamental truth. A budget is not cost control. It's a plan. But, think about how most of us actually operate. A lot of managers treat the budget literally like a grocery receipt. They pull it out at the end of the month, look at what's already happened, and just wring their hands over money that's already gone. Viewing a budget as this backward-looking autopsy report just completely limits your potential. It turns financial planning into this exercise in anxiety rather than an actual tool for growth. And honestly, worse than that, treating it like a receipt leaves your team completely in the dark. They're left wondering why resources are suddenly drying up or why some random project just got the green light. All right, let's get into the first part, thermometer versus map, which is our core metaphor. This brings us to a really stark difference in leadership styles. First, think about the thermometer approach. A manager who's just checking to see if they're over or under budget is being completely passive. They're literally just reading the temperature of the room, reacting to events that are entirely in the past. If it's too hot, they panic. If it's cool, they relax. But they aren't actually driving anything. Now contrast that with a much more dynamic approach, the map. An effective manager uses the budget as an active shared map with their team. A map shows you the actual terrain, right? It reveals what paths are open and helps everyone navigate the journey ahead, together. When you've got a map, you aren't just reacting to the weather, you're actively charting your course. Moving on to section 2, money is just a language. 100,000. Look at that. When a massive figure like this is just sitting in a tiny little cell on a spreadsheet, it feels incredibly abstract, doesn't it? It's imposing. Our human brains actually struggle to contextualize large numbers in a vacuum. So a budget figure often feels totally disconnected from the physical reality of your daily operations. It's just math on a screen. Sure, for the finance department, that number makes perfect sense. But for the people actually turning the wrenches, writing the code, or managing the clients, a flat monetary figure doesn't give them any actionable direction at all. But here is the secret to breaking down that abstraction. Monetary figures are really just abbreviations for physical quantities. That 100,000, it isn't just a pile of cash sitting in a vault somewhere. It translates to, say, 100 actual hours of your team's hard work. It's 5 tangible products you're delivering. It's 10 physical materials you need to source to make the whole shebang happen. Money is literally just a translation language. The conversation you should be having with your team isn't about the cash. It's about the real-world resources required to build and act. When you stop talking about dollars and start talking about hours, materials, and deliverables, wow, the budget suddenly becomes incredibly real for everyone involved.
Which leads us to section 3, from control to plan and the team disconnect. So when you use a budget strictly for control, you kind of isolate yourself. It just becomes this solitary accounting chore, like an autopsy of what went wrong where you're playing the auditor, and you end up entirely excluding your people from their real strategy. It creates this weird parent-child dynamic in the workplace, where the manager holds the purse strings and the employees just ask for their allowance. But utilizing the budget as a plan, that fundamentally shifts the culture to an adult-adult dynamic. It activates your team's true potential. It turns a dry, boring verification process into a forward-looking, collaborative session where everyone is aligned on the exact same goals. I want you to think about it this way. If the team doesn't know where the money is, they simply cannot be part of the plan. It's that simple. Keeping your team in the financial dark turns them into passive subjects of your control. Instead of empowering them to actually solve problems right alongside you, you reduce them to cogs in a verification machine. When a team doesn't understand the financial constraints and the opportunities, they can't innovate. They can't suggest a cheaper material or a faster workflow because they are completely blind to the economic reality of the project. So instead of seeing the budget as a restrictive fence designed to keep people out of the decision-making process, it should really be your engine for coordination. It is your master map for resource utilization, activity coordination, employee integration, and just crystal clear communication. Think about a cross-functional team trying to hit a deadline. If they don't know what resources we actually have to produce the thing, they completely lose the why behind their work. They might over-engineer a solution that we just can't afford, or maybe under-resource a future that is absolutely critical to our success. Integrating them into this map breaks down those silos for sure, and it ensures that every single person is marching to the same beat with full visibility of the terrain. Let's look at Section 4, the Blueprint for Action, featuring 3 key questions.
Okay, so I have a challenge for you. Schedule a meeting with your team this week. And when you sit down, I want you to toss the strict accounting principles out the window just for a moment. Instead, collaboratively walk through these 3 simple questions. Number 1, what do we actually need to achieve? Like, define the physical outcome. Number 2, what does this practically cost in terms of our time and physical materials? We're translating the money into action here. And number 3, where is our reserve? Seriously, where exactly is our buffer for when things inevitably go off track?
That's third question right there. Identifying the reserve, that is where the magic happens. Look, a lot of managers are terrified to tell their teams about the reserve because they assume, oh, the team's just going to immediately spend it. But actually, scratch that. The exact opposite is true. When the team knows where the reserve is, they know exactly where they have the flexibility to pivot. They feel a real sense of ownership over that buffer. By answering these 3 questions together, your team stops seeing the budget as this rigid set of rules from on high and starts seeing it as a living, breathing plan that they helped architect. This totally empowers them to make smart, agile decisions on the ground without having to run to your office for every minor approval. They become true partners in navigating the business. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one provocative question to ask yourself today. Does your team see a control or a map? I want you to think really deeply about how your leadership translates financial reality to your people. Are you just handing them a thermometer to simply read the past, or are you handing them a map to actively navigate the future? Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next explainer.